Recording in progress. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Officially, good afternoon and happy Thursday. And I hope for those of you who are in Florida, I hope you're safe. I know there's still a lot of doom and gloom there, so I'm hoping and hearts go out with you. And so here we go, and I got a mess. Oh, now I can. So anyway, today's class, I just called it a variety class because usually when you see that, I try to make the class so that it will cater to most everybody, no matter what model you have. So I'm going to be referencing certain models today. So pay very close attention and take notes because I can only hook up so many organs at once. So I'll be playing on, it looks like the Sterling today. And I have the ST Freedom 3. I know some of you have a Symphony, some of you have a Marquis, some have an Aria, some have a Discovery 3, an Easy 4, Easy 10. There's all sorts of models represented. And I get that. So what I'm going to do is my very best to kind of keep you up to snuff on all of the models. I'll reference what I teach today. And then I'll do some screen sharing too. And then what I screen share will inevitably be posted on our Patreon site as well, okay? So today, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna play, now I put in the email up to 10 songs. I may have lied, because I looked at my list, and one of them was a song that I've played a lot this year, and I thought, I don't know if I should play that song. People get mad at me, but I will include it in the page, on the handout. But what I'm going to do is play hopefully up to 9 or 10 songs, and then what I'm going to do is real simply tell you the style that I used and the styles that can be used depending on the model. So I'll give you that, and then maybe if there was a special feature used for that, and what would be a good medley song to play that with. Now, that answer could be, if I play one song, I could say, here's another song you can play with it to make a medley. You and I both know that medley song could be 20 different titles. I'm just going to give you a suggestion. All right. So I'm going to start off, my first song I'm going to start off with is Fly Me to the Moon. Now, where's my music book? Oh, here it is. Fly Me to the Moon. That's a fun song. Now, this is kind of an interesting song to open with. I'll tell you why after I do it, but I'll put it up here. Let me pick a style. Let's see, it looks like I got it already set up because I was rehearsing it a little bit this morning. So let me play the song for you. You might have my back turned. I'll try to go off to the side a little bit so you can kind of see as well. If I make a mistake, I'm going to blame the angle that I'm playing at, okay? Here we go. So Fly Me to the Moon is a song that actually is written, I don't know if you could see it there, in 3/4. And it's an interesting song because every time I hear Fly Me to the Moon, I commonly hear people play it in 4/4, not with a waltz rhythm. Waltz rhythms are a little tricky because a lot of the waltz rhythms are very pa 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 pa. Now, if you decide that you want to use a waltz rhythm with it, by the way, because it's 3/4, try to stick to the styles that may say jazz waltz or modern waltz if you have it. If you don't have a jazz waltz or a modern waltz and you're using a regular waltz like, say, this, let's see here, that does not give that song justice no matter what tempo you put it at, okay? But most people use 4/4 styles, and there's tons of options you can use. So for example, I'll put it up on my screen. Are you ready? Get set. And let's see, is this it? No, this one. Go. Okay. All right. So you could see that. There's a big gray box there, isn't it? I hid it the first song. Now I'm just going to squeeze this down. So what I did, the song I played was Fly Me to the Moon. The style that I use is a style called jazz guitar. Jazz guitar happens to be a 4/4 style. Now, many people have that style. The Easy series has it. The EY series has it. Journey's Fanfares, Easy 4, Easy 10, Journey, Inspire, Rialto, any of those EY series. Some of the A series models has it, some don't. If you don't have the style jazz guitar, there are so many options you can use. If you just go on the swing category as an example, if you just go to your swing button, now the tempo you see there, it says 108, by the way. I actually played it at 122. 108 might be comfortable for most. And let me admit somebody in here. It might be comfortable for most, but I like to jazz it up a little bit, so I played it at 122. I wouldn't go any slower than 108, might be a little bit too slow, but I'm just going to ramble off. Now, what I put up there is any swing or big band style. I'm going to ramble off a few. Here's the serenade style. It's at 74, so let me put it at 108. I'm just going to choose the first one. That tempo will work. I might speed it up a little bit, but if you start using any of the other styles, turn off your Orchestra Plus, so then you have this. Hear it? It makes it into a 3-piece, like the jazz guitar style. If I can play the notes right. See, that works. You can play, if you're on the Freedom 3, the small model over here, let me go to the standards button. There's a style called swing time. Even our beginners model has swing time. I'm going to be doing this a lot, folks. Bear with me. Let's see. Tempo, I'm going to leave it at 117. Just put on standards. It's called swing time. And I'll put on a jazz guitar for the heck of it. I use the music so I don't goof up. That works as well. If you really want to make it flashy, use a big band style, Frank and the Count, your swing band, any one of those styles works great. But the big band styles, however, typically come up with a faster tempo. So for example, if I put on Frank and the Count, it comes up at 160. That's a little bit too fast for, unless you really want to jazz it. Well, I guess you could do it that fast if you want, but if I bring it down to 120, Let me just go here to 120. Here's Frank in the count. That style is on a lot of organs. Here we go. A lot of great choices there. Now you'll also notice in the additional notes, while I was playing the song, if you want just a nice, good, simple arrangement, put on the style of your choice, pick the tempo that you like, and then partway through the song, turn on drum variation or alter style or both. And then, when you get to the second page, it'll just give it a little flavor. So here's Frank in the count. All right. Now I'm going to turn on alter style. Listen for it. The band changes a little bit. Let me turn that off and put on drum variation instead. The drummer changes slightly. It's just a nice little touch that you can give your song. And then I put on their medley song. So if you want, you can do, after you're finished with the song, it works great for this because a lot of times Summertime is commonly written in A minor as well in easy play. Let me finish the last few notes. Summertime. I'll do a little fill in. I'm going to change alter style or something like that. And end the song. Stop it. Hold the applause. All right. So, I mean, that right there was worth coming today, wasn't it? I just gave you a bunch of stuff. Hopefully it's worth it to you. All right, let's switch gears. This time, I'm going to play a 3/4 song, but I'm going to actually play it in 3/4. This is not one of those, oh, well, it could be played in 4/4 if you wanted to. I don't know if you'll want to as well. This is a song called Could I Have This Dance? Anybody familiar with the song Could I Have This Dance? And I'm trying to remember the artist that made it popular. Was that Anne Murray?
Anne Murray.
Anne Murray, right? Who also was commonly known for Snowbird, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Correct.
All right.
That's right.
Whew. 2 right answers so far today. All right. So Could I Have This Dance is commonly played and heard as a country song. So immediately you have all sorts of great choices for this. Even if you don't have, this is one of those that even if you don't have the exact type of style that's perfect for it, everybody has a waltz button on their organ. It either says waltz or it says 3/4. So even if you use a standard waltz, it'll work nicely for it. If you use some type of country waltz, it works a little bit better. So I'll play a little bit. I'll play the song through once, and then I'll show you a couple of the other options because a lot of the instruments have different types of waltzes that might work. So let's put on, oh, it's in the key of G. Let's see. Let me put on. I'll start off with just a nice, good, traditional country waltz here. All right, here we go. You know, I was just thinking, I want to have a harmonica with this. And a guitar. Okay, here we go. You guys are so great. You guys are so great. Thank you. Please, please stop. Please stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Oh. All right. So let me put that up on the screen. So this was a simple one. And all right, can you see that okay? Can you all see that okay?
Yes.
Sharon Wilson, Lourdes, I could see you. Thumbs up?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So let me zoom in a little bit. Get my computer to work for me here. All right. So like I said, the song was Could I Have This Dance? You'll notice I automatically partway through went to Tennessee Waltz. Now the interesting thing, Could I Have This Dance? I've seen it in different keys in various easy playbooks. The one that I was playing started off in G. I've learned to play Tennessee Waltz in the key of C. It doesn't matter. As you notice, I went from one key to the other, and it was a pretty smooth transition. But you'll see here, I actually started with this country waltz. Okay? Most people have a country waltz button on their instrument. Most models. All right? If you don't have a country waltz, like I said earlier, just a plain old 3/4 will work fine. The one that I might stay away from, and usually it's the larger models have this, it's great for German waltzes and things like that. It's like an Umpau waltz. I would stay away from Umpau waltz for a song like this, because an Umpau waltz is just that. It's very pa, pa, and it takes away from that slow, bluesy feel of a song like Could I Have This Dance or Tennessee Waltz. But a standard waltz, most standard waltzes, just a regular 3/4 works nicely. I use the country waltz. Some of you may have. And again, I use drum variation. In fact, I went from drum variation partway through, and I went to my alter style, and then I turned off drum variation, and I just poke around until it sounds good for me. There's no bad combination. Now, our little guy here, we have a standard waltz that, just like all of the models, you can do something as simple as, let's see, what tempo? Okay, let's see. That works nicely. And then I saw another one on here that some of you have on all the models. It's called the guitar waltz. Some of the models, and the Lowry models, may call it guitars in 3/4 or something like that. And it's got a little bit of a country flavor to it, although it may not be designed that way, but just because it's a country. Listen. Very pretty. Not bad, huh? And you can use it for Tennessee Waltz too. And of course, if I want, I use a harmonica. That works nicely for it. And of course, now here's the Umpau waltz. Let me put it at the right speed here. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this sounds like. I can't play it any further than that. That's a great waltz for certain styles of music, right? So that's my opinion on that one. Of course, if you want to turn around and play it with a Hawaiian waltz and it sounds good, actually Hawaiian waltz is very smooth. I just thought of that on the spot. That might work nicely too. So if you have a Hawaiian waltz, that works nicely as well. Let's go to my next song. Okay. Anyone here like polkas? I'll tell you what I like about polkas. If you're having a bad day, play a few polkas. I've been doing this for, it'll be 30 years in March, 29 and a half years. I have yet to find a polka that was sad and depressing. Have you ever heard a depressing polka?
No. Nope.
Think about it. Every time in a concert, I don't know many polkas, but you know what I do? I know 3 polkas, bits and pieces, and I put them together to play one polka. But every time I do a polka, when the crowd, if they like the polkas, they start clapping and their face turns from sometimes this to, you just can't help yourself. And so now I'm going to start off actually with a polka that some people know now, because I mentioned this in a lot of our educators, but you know, a rock band actually wrote a polka once. A rock and roll band that did all sorts of rock and roll back in the day. See if you can guess it. You'll probably catch on when I do it. Let me just set it up first and play the song. And
Obladi, oblada.
here we go. Don't give away my secrets just yet. All right, so you got it. You figured it out. It was Obladi Polka, right? Obladi Oblada. And of course, I went into another song. Anybody know what song that other one was?
Two Fat Polka.
Two Fat Polka. I remember when I started at Fletcher Music Centers in 1993, you got to remember my background was strictly rock and blues. Did I know some country names? Yes, because of the current country at the time, that was it, but I didn't play it. I learned to play guitar, rock and roll, hard rock. I played blues. I got into the classic rock era, the Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, and what have you. So when I started, names like Glenn Miller back in those times, we had to learn songs of the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and some of the 50s. And I remember one of the personal assistants was up at the front of the store playing a song, and it was the Two Fat Polka. And he was singing it out loud, and I thought, he's going to make someone mad. You're too fat for me. And I was like, why are you playing that? Don't do that, dude. He says, no. And he explained to me it was a song that people just love singing along to. And I went, oh, so I got to learn it. So it was real easy to learn. Anyway, so the style that I used on there was a style that is designed for Obladi Oblada. Okay, it's actually called Obladi Polka. Now, many of you may have that style. Okay, if you don't, As you see, their alternate style, virtually any polka style will work. If you have a polka button. Now, you may not, there are actually some models, believe it or not, there are some organs that don't have a polka on it. And so I've had people say, well, what if I don't have a polka? Believe it or not, even a march will work, because most organs have a march. Some are actually called march polka because they're very similar the way the styling was made. All right. By the way, you'll see here it says additional notes. It's blank. If you want to make a note to yourself, when I played Obla D, and right before I went to the Two Fat Polka, I did something. I don't know if you caught it. Did anybody catch on to what I did? Any guesses?
Transpose?
I did. You just won yourself 500 virtual dollars.
Woohoo!
I don't know what you can do with this money yet, but someday I'll figure it out. Transpose. Now, a little trick here. When I transpose, in this case, the two songs I was playing is in the key of C. So when I transpose, I end up on playing C, right? Let me get that back here. Okay, so I'm ending on C. What I'll do before I play the next song is I'll hit a G chord. Now this works easily if you're playing a song in the same key, by the way. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm in the key of C, I'm going to hit a G chord or G7. And while I'm holding the G7th chord, I'll do a fill-in. I'll transpose while I'm doing that. Now watch. Listen. And then go into your next song. And it's just a little smoother way of transposing for me personally. I learned that trick 28 years ago from Marco Mendez. Okay, now over here, we don't have an actual polka button. This one actually has a march polka, but it sounds more like a march. So you're going to see how we could actually make this work. Oh my goodness, a march. So yes, even a march works for that. And then the tempo I thought I had it up on the screen so that you can do any of those. How are we doing so far?
Great.
Hopefully you're getting some good ideas, or if not, if anything, you get some great music. These are just some songs that I just chose randomly. Ooh, now here's a song. It's going to go way back before your time. When I told you I started in 1993, our average age student in 1993 was between 65 and 85. And so if they were about 15 to 20 years old, the music they would have embraced would have been anywhere from the 20s, 30s, or 40s. 20s might have been further back, but their parents might have played a lot of that music and some crossover, 30s and the 40s. So again, I was told, you got to learn these songs. You got to learn Glenn Miller. You got to learn this. You got to learn that. So this song was one of the songs, and I don't know what year it is, but maybe some of you are on a computer, you can Google it. But I know it was way back before the 50s. And the song is called Sentimental Journey. And it's actually a very pretty swing song. Now, I've played this so many different ways, and I'm going to actually play it using a style that sometimes I use the serenade style, but I turn off the Orchestra Plus so it doesn't sound like Moonlight Serenade. any swing style and a tempo that works for you. Some of you may have, you have the guitar styles. I'm going to actually start off with guitar swing, or Duke's blues even works as well. So if you have that. So let me put on guitar swing. Now this is similar to the jazz guitar one you heard earlier, but the guitar players play a little bit differently. And it comes up at 92. Pretty. Now, just a fact for you, virtually every style that has the guitars and pianos, when you pick on that rhythm and you put on rhythm preset or style setup, most of the time it comes up, if it's a guitarist style or pianist, you'll hear a bass player, a subtle bass line, and just a guitar with no drummer, okay? So a lot of times I might start off that way, or I'll bring in the drummer immediately. It's a preference thing, okay? Let's see the question here before I get going. Sentimental Journey came out in 1944, way before your time. So here we go. I'll start it off without a drum, okay? It's a pretty melody though. Drum variation or alto style. Actually, drum variation. Here we go. That's, you know what I love about that song is you have a lot of options to choose from. So style, as I was playing it, I was looking on the dashboard of the organ. I was like, oh, that one could work, and that one could work, and that one could. I'll just share a few. Okay. Now, a couple things. Pull up on the screen. Pull this down here. So I actually did the guitar swing, is what you just heard, by the way. Sometimes I use Duke's blues. I actually played it at a tempo of 92, even though I recommended 88. 88 works. Sometimes it's a little bit slower than that. I've heard some versions where the song is played slower, sung slower. You can actually speed it up a little bit too, even if you got it to like the 100 range. It's just to be a little bit more of a swingier kind of a style. You'll notice though, before I go further, you notice in the additional notes, I put turn on touch or dynamic keying, okay? So on some of the Lowry models, there is a, before the E series, should I say, the SU, the A series, even the LCs, the LXs, any series that the Lowry had since before the E, they called it dynamic keying. And then when the EZs and the EYs and the X's came out, they called it touch. Ultimately, it does the same thing. And all it means is that when you activate it, when you play the notes on the keys, you can press harder or softer on the keys. And I think that's why they call it dynamic keying, because you gave your sound dynamics. You had a touch. The harder you hit it, the louder it got. The softer you hit it, the softer. And you'll notice there it says Moonglow is a good medley song. Now I'll come back to that in a minute. Now let me explain why I recommended the touch feature for this. Now, a lot of people don't like using it, and understandably. The reason is when you're playing the notes, if you don't hit the notes hard enough, obviously the melody is soft, and so you can't hear the melody. So a lot of people try to stay away from that feature. But if you're using a guitarist style or a pianist style, or if you're using one of the other styles and you turn off the Orchestra Plus, you're left with 2 or 3 things: a drummer, the bass, and maybe one musical instrument, in this case, the guitar. So it's not very busy. So let me pull that back up. Listen to the style. That's not a busy style. So what happens is if you have your dynamic touch feature on, or the touch feature on, you don't have to apply a lot of pressure to the note to hear the melody. So it allows you, because when you play a guitar or a piano, what gives it its character sometimes is hitting that note harder or softer. I play the guitar as well, electric and acoustic. And a lot of times when I'm playing the acoustic guitar, sometimes I strike the notes harder or softer to give it a little bit of character, or build the intensity of the song, or calm it down. Well, there's not a volume button on there. It's all about how hard or soft you strum the guitar or play the notes. On the organ, when I have this guitar sound, now if I hit a little bit harder, it's a little bit louder. But you'll notice you don't have to do a lot to hear the melody. And if you accidentally hit a little harder, that's a good thing. You're really giving your song some character, and you're hearing the authenticity of those instruments. So a lot of the instruments have those features on it. Even on our little guys over here, if you want to play a song like that, you can take any one of those styles that I mentioned. There's another one that I'm going to mention in the next song, but I'm going to actually use it for this one. It's called Gypsy Jazz, but I'm going to slow it down to, what did I say, 92, 88 or something like that? Here we go. Now I'm going to turn on my touch feature. I know it's in here somewhere. Where is it? Touch it. Is it built into the organ here? Let's see. Touch. There it is. And watch. Let's go to Google. Now I'm going to turn off the touch now because I want to really hear this. Here we go. Oh, you know why? Because the volume is down. Now let me put on the touch again. Here we go. Back to the guitar. Isn't that great? So there's so many great options with that. Now, the next song, I'll stay over here this time. Let's see if I can remember how to play it. I don't have the music for it. Let's see. Yep, the next song is a style. The song is called on the sunny side of the street. All right. And I'm going to actually use this style called gypsy jazz, but this time I'm going to play it in a more upbeat tempo, about 112. And when you hear this, there's so many great songs you can actually play with this. See if I remember how to play it. Works for that too. I wasn't planning on playing that, but I was curious. If you ever have a song that you're playing and you're curious, you know what I say? Go for it. If you don't like it, then you can go back to playing it. Because I think I might suggest that. So the style that I use, the song that I played was On the Sunny Side of the Street, or I could say I attempted to play On the Sunny Side of the Street. And you'll see there it says Gypsy Rag. That's the style that I used on here. Actually, it's called Gypsy Jazz on the SD. On some of the organs, you actually have a rhythm style called Gypsy Rag. And let's see. Let me find it over here. Yes, Gypsy Rag, which is very similar. It's usually a little faster. That's at 130, okay, and it's got a little bit more orchestration going on in there. But if I slowed it down to 112 or what was it, what did I say? Just 130. Actually, I played it at 114 over there. Let's see. You can see it's a very similar style. You could also play songs like It Had to Be You. Had to Be You. That's perfect for that. But you'll notice there I have a little, and I've said this a few times. See, it says no orchestra plus. If you are finding that you're using a rhythm style that's very busy, that's not one of the guitars or piano styles. Remember what I told you, those styles are usually like a three-piece and there's not so much happening. This one here, is not very busy after the intro. The introduction is busy, but during, it's not terribly busy. But there's some stuff going on there. I always say if you want to just kind of simplify a little bit, turn off your Orchestra Plus, and then you get just a nice three-piece. Figure out what chord that is I'm supposed to play. I know I'm playing the wrong chord. But no matter. No one's perfect, right? See, even I play wrong chords. But I'm still having fun. All right. Let's see, what's my next song? Okay, little country music here. So, I'll start over here. This song was real popular back in the, I want to say 80s. And when it was introduced, it was actually introduced on the Prestige, technically the Palladium. And some people, they either really loved it or they didn't care for it. It was kind of like, I want the old country. And then you had some people that wanted the new country but didn't care for the old country. And then there was a percentage that appreciated it both ways. So this style, you can actually do it both ways if you like. I'll start off with the song that it's designed for. And you may be able to tell in the introduction. So here we go. So, no fancy tricks there, but I use a style called Garth's Friends, which was designed for that song. But there is a little something if you are using that rhythm. And I think I played Your Cheating Heart, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
But the trick here is that style, and there's some good alternatives there. And actually, every organ, even our beginner's model, the Discovery, I'm going to leave that up there. If I put on just a country, the regular country style, this one's called Roadhouse. Let me put it to 112. You can play any of these songs.
1, 2.
See? So you can really, any style you could work. Now, obviously that rhythm, the tempo and the beat was a little bit more specific to that song, but you're not restricted from doing that. And if I did Your Cheating Heart, that's great too. But you'll notice there in additional notes, it says begin with alter style. If you are using Garth's Friends, that style, you want to use the alter style, okay? Let me show you. So here is Garth's Friends without alter style. Now I'm going to push alter style while I'm playing, or while it's playing. Listen. It kind of gives it that slow part of that song. So start swinging your beer around. That's like a bar song. You know, you all, when you go to the bars, don't you swing your beers around? You don't go to the bars? Well, this is a good way to pretend to go to the bar. You could pretend you're swinging your beer around and you won't get any hangovers. You won't get a pretend hangover. I'll let Judy Gannon in here. Okay. All right. Now I started a little bit late, so I'm going to end late because I got 3 more songs to play, and I want to at least share these with you. Gentle on My Mind. Now, Gentle on My Mind is a tricky one. First and foremost, for those of you who have the Marquis, Grand Marquis, and aria, there is a style called Gentle Mind. Its introduction, everything is designed perfectly for that. Okay, unfortunately, I don't have one of those models to play on, so I have to come up with some alternatives. Now, this is a little bit tricky, but it can be done. You think about a song like Gentle on My Mind, it's kind of like he finger-picked that song. And it's actually one of the easiest songs to play, believe it or not. If you look at the easy play and the music, it's very repetitive in nature. The words change. The second part of the song, there's a little bit of additional couple extra measures that's added into there. But overall, it's very repetitive. So I don't have that style, but I found a workaround. So here's a style here that it's a guitar style. Some of you have this. Actually, many of you probably have this. Let's see if I could find it here. Okay. I think it's this one. Okay. So this style here, here's the introduction. When you pull it up by its, without changing anything, it comes up at 140, and it's very pretty as it is. Play all sorts of really pretty songs with that, you know. But if you take the tempo and you bring it up to almost twice the time, I'm going to put it up to 200, maybe 220. We'll see what happens. Okay, and I'm going to add the drummer in. Are you ready? Can even do that here as well. I think there's a style on here. It starts off very slow. All right, so this one here is at 150. Okay, but I'm going to increase the tempo to, how much did I say?
Double.
200 and almost double. I'll try 214. We'll see how that works. Ready? I want to do that again. I like that guy talking. He likes it. I guess he thought so. I didn't do that on purpose. What timing. That was perfect. So I'll pull that up on the screen. So if you have the style called Gentle Mind, the tempo comes up at 101. So don't change the tempo if you actually have the rhythm called Gentle Mind. Okay? If you're using what I did, guitar standard, those styles usually come up to about 140, 130, what have you. I put in here 200, but I actually played it at 212 and 216 respectively on that one. That's a style that you can really increase it, but you hear the beat differently. You don't hear the beat as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You hear the beat as, let me put that back on again. Put it up at 200 and watch. See, you almost feel like, and I can see some heads bouncing. That's how it feels. But if you look here, it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 minutes. You don't look at the tempo. That's where you feel the beat. And it kind of makes it really just fun to play. All right, now here's a song that I've played many times in concert. I won't play the whole song, but it's an absolute gorgeous, gorgeous song. And let's see, the style that I want to use is right here. Pretty? I'm recording, so I had to make sure the applause is in there. Okay, so the style that I use, a couple things on that. The style that I use, many of you may have it, and even if you don't, there's great alternatives. So the style that I use was called soliloquy. The song is called Through the Eyes of Love. And before the style soliloquy was introduced, everybody used either an easy 4/4, an easy 8-beat. And it works perfectly for that. So I'm going to leave that up there as I'm going to another model that has it. Let's see here. Here's an easy 8-beat. Tempo's at about 80. What did I put on there? Yeah, 80. Here we go. That was just the easy 8-beat style. So there's a tempo and there's the options. Now right here, for those of you who have it, okay, right here, I use a wind chime. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, Over the Rainbow is another great medley song to play with it, by the way. But I don't know if you noticed, but when I was playing, occasionally I was doing this. Oh, isn't that pretty? So when you're playing, okay. So there's wind chimes in there, but if you have the category preset, if you noticed, I went up to the screen real quick while I was playing. I went to the category. Now you know you've heard me say this in some of my classes over time. If you have a category called sound effects, touch sound effects, and go to setup number 9 or preset number 9, and what it'll do is it'll set up this sound, and down here you have what they call nature. So you have, but you get these beautiful wind chimes, and when you're playing, you don't have to hit the right notes. Gentle tap. Don't hit the notes and hold it. Just, now that seems overbearing right now, but when you're playing, watch. All right. So just a little extra little touch for those of you who have that. And then I switched to number 4, and in the very ending of sound effects number 4, you get this big sound. The ending, watch this. If all you do is this, on the bottom keyboard is a timpani, a rolling timpani. Ooh, very fancy, right? It's already built into the setup there. So sound of, now watch. So while you're playing the ending, if that's all you did is, every time I play that song, that's what I use. Isn't that great? I got one more for you. Are you learning something today?
Yes.
All right. Hopefully you got at least one thing, but I gave you 8 so far. I know Don and we all say, if you can take away one thing, I figured if I give you 8 or 9 different things, you're bound to get one, right? Well, one more, and I'll put it up before I play it, because then what I'll do is I'll close with the song so you could hear it in action, okay? Do it a little bit in reverse this time. All right. So the last one is Bye Bye Blues. Now, I love it when Jerome plays this. He actually, oh, I put it in there. When he plays it, he puts Frank in the count on, and I actually think he might even go a little bit faster than 202. Is that right, Jerome? Or is that about the speed you play it at? Jerome, are you there? I don't hear you on Zoom. People are waiting for you to respond. You're live. You're being recorded.
I'm here.
What tempo do you play Bye Bye Blues when you use the Frank in the count?
About 280.
Yeah, it's a lot faster. But when he does it, it works great.
280.
And what's great about this song, because the notes is not, they're whole notes, and you hold them for a length of time. So you don't have to play them really fast. So it allows you to put a very fast tempo. The style that I sometimes use is jumping jazz, which comes up to 202. You could also do a little putting on the Ritz, but there's something else there. You'll notice that I have jazz category 0, use virtuoso. I'm going to leave it up on the screen there for a second. Write that down first. Actually, let me pull this. Let me show you on the organ, and then I'll put the screen back up. Okay. Now, if you don't have this category, it's okay. Just play the song with a nice brass or trumpet sound. But when I go to the category preset called jazz, okay, I don't have a number pressed, so it's 0. All right. It gives me on the top keyboard a brass sound shake, but it also automatically puts in the harmony. So when you're playing, you'll get a harmony sound. And on the bottom, it's going to automatically program a guitar, a growl saxophone. All right. Now, if you don't have that preset, it's okay. Maybe you want to use a trumpet and a saxophone, or find a trumpet shake and a saxophone. Okay, but that's the sound. Now, for those of you who have the virtuoso, this thing here, it typically defaults to a harp sound, as you can hear there. But a lot of the models, if you touch virtuoso, the button, a screen will pop up. Okay, some of you have two used. If you have two virtuosos, I like using the left one, because then when I use it, my left hand, because you'll see me using my left hand a lot. Okay, all right. If you only have one, then just use the one here. So, and on the screen it says golden harp. It means that the sound that's here is the sound that's programmed in the golden harp. So if I put on the golden harp genius and its vibes, that's the sound will go there. But that's not what I want. I want this sound to go up in here. So I touch the screen where it says source, and and it says upper. So what it means is the upper keyboard sound, whatever's there, is now going to go in here. Now watch. Okay? So as I'm playing the song, you're going to see me playing, and then I might go up to the virtuoso here, depending what hand I'm using. Now, I'm wiggling. You don't have to. The trumpet shakes on its own. I'm just compelled to wiggle for some reason. I want to like pretend like I'm doing, I don't know why, it just makes you do it. So that's the extra little bonus tip there. And you're going to hear that. All right. So let me pull that back up so you can see that. Where is it? There we go. So that's what that means. All right. Now, I'm going to actually.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Gorgeous. I agree. Gorgeous. All right. Now, I'm going to stop screen sharing. I'm going to bring up another one here. Let's see.
It's like I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Gorgeous, gorgeous.
You're not muted, but we could hear you. Okay. This is the exact same sheet. But you'll notice the first one says Cabaret. I didn't play Cabaret because I've done that song a lot as a featured song and I didn't want to do it again for you. I've had some people say, "Hey, keep playing," but this will be posted on Patreon. So if you have not got a setup for cabaret, you'll get this. You're going to get this handout. Everything's the same, except for the first song. Okay. So Bye Bye Blues, Jumpin' Jazz, 202. All right. Now, before I play the song, are there any questions that anybody has that they'd like to ask me about anything I've done today? I didn't
Robert?
allow for many questions because I had so many songs to feature, and I wanted to be able to get through them all. I think the last time I did a similar class like this, I wasn't able to get to about 5 songs or something like that. All right. Someone was asking me a question?
Yes, Robert, Barbara Allen here.
Yes, Barbara
Uh,
Allen here.
What did you say to medley with Sentimental Journey?
Let's see. Let me pull that back up here. Moonglow.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I see some people looking at the screen. Again, this will be posted on our Patreon when we post it. I'll add this sheet. Okay. All right. Before I play the song, I want to say, first of all, thank you. Oh, let me go to this. You're going to just look at my arm here. I'll switch cameras when I go back to the organ. We hope you enjoyed the class today, but I'm going to finish off so you could actually hear everything that I did. The other thing I do want to say is, we had a little bit of a weather issue in Florida, and I know I'm preaching to the choir in some cases, but I've had some people sending me emails how so-and-so. The Villages was probably the safest from what I understand. They got some bad weather. Sun City was the next. Our corporate office was okay, where Joe teaches out of. The Osprey location was a little bit different. We were out with power for a little bit of time. I'm hearing mixed stories about some of the residents in the Venice area, what have you. Port Charlotte, however, our store is okay, but both our Osprey and Port Charlotte, we're not operating at full capacity in those market areas because a lot of the residents in those areas were affected by it. And our Port Charlotte especially was affected. We can't even get into, they're not allowing us into the store. Mall is surrounded by a lot of service trucks and electric trucks, and I hear there's these mobile trucks that go around, so people who have cell phones, they can patch a cell service. It's like a mobile cell tower, and so we're not operating at full capacity, and but everybody is safe staff-wise that I heard of. I haven't heard anything, thank goodness, knock on wood, of our customers yet. We're trying to reach out to a lot of people, so I wanted to do this today, and a couple other announcements I wanted to make to you. So starting probably next week, if we get all the stores up and running, if not the second week for sure, I'm going to start rotating in each of the staff members. Dawn's going to be teaching her classes, but every now and then one of her classes may be replaced with someone like Carrie teaching a very special workshop. And I asked all the staff members for 3 things they'd like to do, and I'll pick one. And let me tell you, I got some very creative ideas, workshops you're not going to want to miss. So Dawn's going to have something different she's going to do. Jerome's got a whole brand new concert he's working on. We're going to include Miranda and Irina, some that you don't normally see. So a lot of our staff members have these really creative workshops or concerts they're going to be doing you've never seen before. And so my point is, keep your eye out on the emails for announcements every week, and in the website. If you go to our website at fletchermusic.com, if you go to the virtual classes and tabs, let me actually pull this up real quick here. Let's see. Close this thing, share. Because I like to let everybody know it's not that hard to find. Okay. There it is. So if you go to our website, All of the virtual classes, as many of you know, is right here on this tab. If you're not used to that, I would just check it out on a regular basis because it's going to be updated every week and you might see a new class here and there, okay? I will send out email notices regularly. You may see them more than regular on the day of too. We don't want students to miss it. And I do send them out early enough so that when you check your email, you don't catch it at the last minute and go, oh my gosh, it's happening in an hour. All right, and last but not least, before I finish off, I sent out a special email that we are still impacted by Hurricane Ian. We're not operating full capacity, and a good business wants to protect our club and everything we do. And so what John and I have decided to do is that for a limited time, we have some really special instruments that we've acquired. I will tell you the bad news is I've had 3 or 4 emails already inquiring about the Aria. Unfortunately, the Aria was sold literally minutes after I posted the video. So if everyone comes in, I can let you know there is one Rialto and a bunch of other special units that we are going to offer at price points that really makes our customers very happy. And it's just very smart business practice to do this so that we don't jeopardize our club benefits. And we've made a lot of happy customers in the last 4 days. So if you're interested, you can send me an email, call one of your stores. Some of you got my personal phone number. You can call me direct, text me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So with that said, I'm going to finish up with the last setup that you had on there. So let me put on Jumpin' Jazz. Jumpin' Jazz. I'll put on that setup. It's up there. And we'll do a little bit of Bye Bye Blues at 202, not 280. Too fast for me, Jerome. Sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Round of applause. I played Hit the Road, but I wasn't telling you to hit the road. I just thought it was the song came to mind and it was like, I wonder if this will work. And then I worked, but I did slow it down a little bit because it was a little too fast for that. But anyway, if you have any questions about anything, if you took, I saw you all writing notes. For those who had your video, I saw taking notes. If you have any questions about some of these setups, these are things that all of our staff members can help you with. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. And as always, stay safe, keep playing music, and mwah.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Very beautiful, uplifting. Thanks.